Their ambitions taking flight. With eyes on the prize, teammates ran into and through their own in pursuit of the ball. Utter disregard for self-preservation led to body slams, and the paint of the field bonded to players' faces. There was blood to mix with the sweat as both semifinal games went to sudden death. Hearts stopped on close calls through 1, then 2, then 3 overtimes in both matches. But in the fourth, 2 teams would make magic. Here's Purcell, a finisher. The shot scores! Santa Clara wins! Makes the move to the top of the box. Max volley scores! Indiana goes to the title game! Today, Santa Clara, never once the higher-seeded team in this tournament, seeks ultimate victory, while Indiana tries to defend its 1998 championship, looking to repeat at the 1999 Men's College Cup. From Erickson Stadium in Charlotte, the home of the NFL's Carolina Panthers, the Santa Clara Broncos vie for the national championship against the Indiana Hoosiers. Hello again, everybody. Alongside Ty Keogh, I'm Jack Edwards. This should be a pretty spirited game. Santa Clara is a team that is content to let the other team hold the ball for long periods, but boy, when the Broncos counterattack, you better look out. Their target men can finish.
A couple of very aggressive forwards on their front line, especially number 10, Sean Purcell. And it's Ari Radopoulos, the number 11, who starts this play. It's the game-winning goal in the semifinal against UConn. Sean Purcell here putting the finishing touch on it. He runs hard up front. He takes bodies down with him. We see number 10, Purcell, number 11, Radopoulos. They were all of the offense for the Santa Clara Broncos in the semifinal.
Well, as for Indiana, one would imagine this is a veteran team that is very poised, and it has help in the back in Nick Garcia and up front in Alexi Carroll, a couple of veteran players who don't make a lot of mistakes.
You want to talk about tournament experience. Alexi Carroll, last year's offensive MVP in the Men's College Cup. There he is splitting the UCLA defense to set up a goal for Yuri Lavernenko. And Alexi Carroll will be watched very closely today. Nick Garcia, number 3 in white for Indiana here, a leader at the back and last year's defensive MVP of the Men's College Cup. He's going to try and help win another one for the Indiana Hoosiers.
Legendary coach Jerry Yeagley tries to join some of the all-time greats with in Charlotte, North Carolina for the Men's College Cup Championship. Santa Clara against Indiana, and as you can see between the hash marks of this NFL field, it's rather bumpy. The rest of it is in relatively good shape considering the date. Rusty Johnson is in goal for the Santa Clara Broncos, and let's get a look at the Adidas starting lineup. Ty?
And Rusty Johnson has a pretty solid defense out in front of him. All-American Adam Ayer, the number 4 captain, but alongside of him, number 20, Jeff Stewart, had a very solid game and complements Adam Ayer quite well. They'll have to stop Alexi Carroll and Matt Fundenberger of Indiana.
Indiana goalkeeper TJ Hannock had not given up a goal in NCAA tournament play until the semifinals, when he was beaten twice in the final quarter hour of the match. And here's his starting lineup.
Well, when people talk about the Indiana Hoosiers, a lot of the conversation is about the Ukraine players, Carroll and Lavernenko, but Ryan Mack in the semifinal, a goal and an assist and a tremendous amount of work at midfield.
Strategically speaking, let's take a look at what we think is going to be the difference. The usports.com keys to the match. Ty?
For Santa Clara, it's very important for them to compress the midfield and not leave space for Lavernenko and Ryan Mack, who had such good games playmaking out of midfield. Also, they need to be patient at the back and really absorb a lot of the Indiana attacks and time their counterattacks forward. That was so effective for them in the semifinal against UConn. The keys of the match for the Indiana Hoosiers is to, in fact, be able to play the ball behind that Santa Clara defense that pushes up a lot. If they time their runs well, they'll avoid the offside call. But they have to be careful. They send too many players forward. They could be vulnerable to that 3-man counterattack by Santa Clara with some big, strong, fast players.
Both teams will play the long ball. The weather conditions should hold up. 54 degrees Fahrenheit is just great for soccer players who are going to run anywhere from 6 to 9 miles in sprints in this 90-minute match. Mostly cloudy. We're not supposed to get any precipitation. The wind shouldn't be a factor down on the floor of the stadium. Mitch Murray is in his 9th season at Santa Clara. 121 wins in those 9 years, and Santa Clara in the College Cup for the 4th time. Jerry Yeagley has been the only coach Indiana soccer ever has had. And Indiana with 4 NCAA titles, 13 times in the College Cup. The fans are here from Bloomington, and some have made the long trek from Santa Clara. Both of these teams ought to be tired, but there's a lot of adrenaline working. There were 61 total players used in the semifinals, the 2 games combined, 279 minutes played. Yeah, we were here for 7.5 hours, but it was great. And if you were able to catch both of those games, you know the quality of play that we saw. These guys emptied their buckets emotionally. Many players were physically spent, but hey, these guys are all 19, 20, 21, some of them 22 years old. They got a lot there. Indiana, wearing white, will be attacking left to right against Santa Clara, which is wearing the maroon. John Swan in the back, playing it across to Dennis Fedeski. And here is Nick Garcia, who will run the show from the back line. Santa Clara showing the kind of passive defense when Indiana has the ball deep in its defensive third. We saw that against its semifinal opponent, Connecticut. Rusty Johnson gets his first touch for the Broncos. A 50-50 ball. Indiana very strong in the air. This is Burden up for Rojas, now onto the right side. And here's Purcell, who had the 2 goals, taken away. Garcia on the back line. Rojas to Purcell, a chance, the volley, save Hannick.
Well, there you see how quickly Santa Clara could turn the tables and strike on the counterattack. Indiana appeared to have everything under control. Good possession play in the early moments here, and right away, Sean Purcell, after 2 goals in the semifinal, nearly steals one here in the opening moments.
Alexi Carroll crosses for the far post, but it swings out of bounds. It'll be a goal kick for Santa Clara. Justin Cannell, just a sophomore from Tarzana, California. He can make things happen.
Well, Santa Clara is so dangerous because they really don't have to generate a whole lot of offense to create offensive chances, and all they need is a throw-in the other team's end, and right away they can threaten on goal. Tall, aggressive forwards. R.A. Rodopoulos and Sean Purcell, we've talked about them already, but they are targets for those long throws by Cannell.
Denton up the wing. Garcia intercepts and pops it back up in midfield. Both of these teams play long balls into midfield, and whoever is winning the 50-50 balls, those balls that are up for grabs, is going to carry the momentum. It can swing quickly. There's a good look at Denton, the All-American. Fundenberger heads it over, but volleyed right back by Callahan and out of bounds. Indiana throwing. This is Fedeski. See the captain's armband.
Fedeski's job today is to mark Sean Purcell, the number 10 for Santa Clara, out of the game. That's a man-to-man marking assignment.
Callahan booming it up the wing. It stays in and then bounces out. Slight crown on the field, so the ball will tend to run toward the sidelines as the middle is higher than the sides for drainage. And you can see that the soccer field goes well wide of the football sidelines. And we found in the semifinals that where players were on that turf on the wings, it was a little bit slicker than it is in the middle of the field. We saw a lot of players go down far on the wings. Here's Fundenberger dropping it back, a little chip into the middle. Johnson way out to make the punch at the 12. Smith trying to turn it back, but here comes B.J. Snow, who took that violent face plant in the semis. Callahan sells the dummy, leaves it off for Eric Denton. Back to Callahan. Callahan moving it through midfield, but he turns it over. John Swan in control. Lavernenko with his first touch of the match. Back to Swan. Ahead for Carroll. Air letting it roll out.
Intelligent, patient defending there by number 4, Adam Ayer of Santa Clara. Closing down Alexi Carroll, the number 13 for Indiana. That's a good matchup as well.
Tauber up the wing for Carroll. He has Lavernenko in support. Denton makes sure it goes out of bounds.
Alexi Carroll so good on the dribble, and that's why you saw Adam Ayer close him down with some patience.
Hard cross into the middle, headed clear. Rojas just boots it out to midfield. Garcia will reset. Firing it into the middle, a little bit aimless. Burton belting it out. Swan heads it back to midfield. Here comes Callahan, looking for somebody far side. Now comes short to Purcell. Purcell with Swan right on him, dropping back to Denton. Rojas making the run away, creating the space for Denton. He goes corner, trying to turn the corner on Lavernenko, but Lavernenko cuts him off. It'll be a goal kick, Indiana.
Eric Denton, a wingback in the Brazilian mold. He loves to get forward. You know his idol, it must be Roberto Carlos, another left-footed wingback who spends a lot of time in the other team's penalty areas. Good acceleration, good close ball control. Both of those factors get Denton into some dangerous positions forward.
Burden back to Rusty Johnson. Rojas. Burden trying to chip it back toward Rojas, but losing control and out of bounds.
We'll expect to see Indiana have a lot of the possession of the ball and even a lot of the territorial advantage. Santa Clara doesn't mind that at all. They will absorb a lot of pressure and try and force turnovers at midfield as they push up their back four and constrict the midfield space. And then on the counterattack, as we saw in the semifinal on Friday night, Ari Rodopoulos, fast and strong, with some good vision to pick out his other target player, Sean Purcell, who knows how to finish.
Fedeski has a long throw for Indiana. He can throw this one right into the middle of the penalty area. Decides he's going to go down the wing for Carroll. Carroll working against Burden. Got a foul against Indiana and a restart for Santa Clara.
Now Alexi Carroll on your screen there might be able to exploit the fact that Santa Clara's back four plays so flat all the way across. If he can time his run and get a ball played over the top of those backs and stay in an onside position until it's played, he could have some breakaways today.
Mack chipping it down the wing, intended for Noonan. Taken away Stewart. Stewart carries to midfield. Off Rojas and out of bounds. It'll be an Indiana throw. Neither of these teams able to settle the ball and really get in a rhythm so far. We thought it might start this way. Both of these teams have got to shake out the kinks after long semifinals. Both teams want to quadruple overtime before prevailing on goals in sudden death. Here's Noonan with a little burst. Carroll trying to turn in the penalty arc, leaves it off right side. Taubers sliding in to keep it alive. Air on it. Manages to clear it up the wing. Down goes Swan in pursuit of the ball. Well, Noonan has a lot of talent.
Hey, he's looking dangerous again just on this last play, but let's talk about Friday night in the semifinals. He's just a freshman. Here's Ryan Mack, a sophomore, sending in Noonan. Look at the poise here, controlling the ball with his chest and burying it underneath UCLA's goalkeeper, Nick Raimondo. That was the first goal of the match for the Hoosiers.
And you see what Noonan has done. The Hoosiers really weren't counting on that kind of production from the youngster from St. Louis.
A goal and an assist in the semifinal. He set up the game winner for Ryan Mack.
Here's Cannell's flip throw. That wasn't what he wanted. Problem with a flip throw is that once you commit to it, you have no idea where your teammates are on late runs because you're looking at the sky when you're coming around.
Jack, there's a bit of history between these two squads, and it only goes back 1 year. In the Men's College Cup semifinal in '98, Indiana buried the Santa Clara Broncos 4-0, so revenge is on the mind of the Santa Clara players.
Purcell playing it square for Denton. He tries to put it up for grabs. Lavernenko heading it away. Rojas pursuing Lavernenko from behind, and he's called for the slide tackle from behind. A good call here. Brian Hall, the referee, making sure that things don't get out of hand early. Now you see that Indiana's only win in the 4-game series between these two teams was quite decisive.
And Mitch Murray, the Santa Clara coach, he talks about that 4-0 result in the national semifinal last year. It says they were surprised by the physical approach by the Indiana Hoosiers. He says they won't be surprised today. They want to match them for physical play.
Callahan heads it past Rojas. Rodopoulos with a man right on his back. It was Swan. Hard tackle low by Fedeschi to get it loose, and now Rodopoulos goes over the top. Fedeschi's going to get a warning at least.
Well, Fedeschi's not shy, but Rodopoulos intelligently draws this foul. He puts his leg in front of the ball, knowing that Fedeschi will try and go through the ankle to get to it.
You can see on the left side of the screen, Brian Hall just putting the card away. Fedeschi has been cautioned here in the 10th minute. So a yellow card against the Indiana co-captain. You talk about the physical play of Indiana. The Hoosiers always aggressive going after the ball. All right, Callahan setting up on a three-man wall here. Good target men for Santa Clara. They're very good in the air.
Watch Denton. He's kind of lurking near the edge of the box.
Callahan going to the far post, up for grabs. Burden crashing from the D, but it goes over the top off of his header. And it'll be a goal kick for Indiana. Good thinking, says Kyle Smith.
Kyle Smith with the bandage across the bridge of his nose. He got that split open in the semifinal Friday night in an air collision.
Yeah, it went beyond physical at times with Connecticut and Santa Clara. It got all the way to nasty, and I don't mean to paint the Broncos as being angels. Both teams were a little bit out of hand emotionally, and there was a lot of extra stuff going on, but they did manage to calm it down. And when the game was on the line in the overtimes, it was relatively cleanly played.
Well, in this game, with that early yellow card by Brian Hall, he's showing that he's not going to put up with any of that nonsense, and it's a good approach by the official to clamp down early.
Now on the far side, that's Matt Fundenberger, who just took, I think, an elbow in the head as he was going up for one. And Lavernenko will line up the free kick about 40 yards from goal out on the left. Fundenberger is a fun guy to watch. He goes straight at you, and he's got an explosive shot off both sides. Four men stacked to the right side of the penalty arc for Indiana. Here's Lavernenko's serve to the near post. Stewart heads it up. Denton tries to get it out, and Cannell turns it upfield. This is Purcell with a man on him, and he just boots it into the stands. A national championship at stake here. Indiana wearing white, Santa Clara in the maroon. Lavernenko looking for somebody to move. Just fires it down the wing, intended for Carroll, but Stewart intercepts. That might have been an indication of the energy level early. These guys may be feeling a little leaden in the legs. It's a tough turnaround, less than 2 days after going 4 overtimes. But this is a guy, Eric Denton, number 5 in red, who was outstanding throughout the overtimes. We were saying that it looked as if he was getting faster. I think he might have just been keeping the same speed, and everybody else was slowing down.
He looked like he could have played a whole other game after the first one ended.
Another 50-50 ball. Rodopoulos tips it ahead. Swan pops it up again. Rodopoulos challenging for the ball. Noonan tries to settle. Now Mack comes out of there but gives it away. And finally Garcia just knocks it through into midfield. Ball up in the air a lot. And now Denton settles it. Puts it on the ground. Long ball for Rojas. These 40 to 60 yard passes. The defense is looking at the ball, and often offensive players are playing with their backs to the goal, not as inclined to come back to the ball so much. We see a lot of turnovers.
I think you said it before, both teams taking some time to find their legs. Their legs have to be heavy from the overtimes on Friday.
Mack trying to chip it into the corner, anticipating a run there by Carroll, but Carroll wasn't going. We play 2 45-minute halves, and there will be a timeout in each half about midway through. If it's tied at the end of regulation, forgive me for giggling, but if you're with us for the semis, you know this. We have as many as 4 15-minute sudden death overtimes, then penalty kicks. Callahan spun around and down in midfield, and Mack pleading his case that it wasn't intentional, but it'll be a trip against Indiana. Santa Clara restarts.
Well, at least it's an even playing field. It was the first time in men's College Cup history, the NCAA tournament, that both semifinals went to overtime.
Rodopoulos on the pop-up header. Now Fedeschi trying to run it clear. Lavernenko leaves it off for Swan. He lifts it again, and now Cannell on the second header, electing not to put it down to his feet. All these volleys in midfield deprived teams establishing a rhythm. And again, it's Denton who settles the ball. Denton, no one's going to stop the ball. He'll take it. Keeps running it up. This is Purcell who had the finisher. Tries to make the move. Fedeschi on a nice tackle. Back comes Lavernenko. It gets through to Fundenberger. Looked a little bit surprised by it. And again, it's kind of slick there on the wings, wide of the football field.
Fedeschi, a physical defender. He already has a yellow card. This time, though, a little bit more intelligent defending. Watch him get his body in. Could have been obstruction, but he disguised it pretty well.
Carroll backing in against Denton. They called Denton for the hold. And again, it'll be a restart for Indiana. Now, this is a good place for a set play if the Hoosiers have one.
Well, they do. And Fundenberger, number 18 in white for Indiana, normally the target.
Mack the chip to Lavernenko. Now he's got the short cross. Goes for the short post. Rusty Johnson parrying it over the top. Good effort. Lavernenko set it up as if he was going to cross the ball and decided he'd put it on the face of the goal.
Indiana rehearses these set plays over and over again. Nice little combination. Look at the splitting pass coming through. Now, Lavernenko knows he should have done better with this cross. He put it much too close to the goalkeeper, Johnson.
I think he was going for the shot all the way. I think he saw Johnson leaning and he wanted to go for goal. Of course, I'd always give a benefit to an offensive player.
I looked at the...
Even when you make mistakes, you do it right.
I looked at the expression. The expression on his face afterwards made me told me that he wasn't that happy with it.
A foul in midfield by Santa Clara, and that was exactly the kind of situation where the Broncos are going to try the counterattack. When Indiana has 10 men forward, Santa Clara gets back really rapidly. Long ball into the box, but Fundenberger wasn't making the run. Rusty Johnson's drop kick carries 70 yards downfield. Finally, it's Mack's volley that gets it free to Carroll off the side of his foot as he tried to send Fundenberger through, but Stewart was there. Now Burden turns it up for Rojas. Good aggressive play from B.J. Snow, and Noonan comes back to take the ball. This is Justin Tauber up to Mack. Mack winning it back from Rojas. Now Swan through into the defense, but again, Santa Clara takes it. Mack smacked down by Rojas hard at midfield. Well, if you tackle the ball and happen to get the man on the way through, that's one thing. But if you knock the man flat in pursuit of the ball, you're going to get whistled every time.
What a performance by number 10, Ryan Mack of Indiana on Friday night. The game-winning goal in the fourth sudden death overtime, but that was the least of it. He helped create. At midfield, he got back and defended. A very good two-way midfielder.
Noonan turns on Burden to the corner of the penalty area. Now all the way out top, the shot deflects and just goes wide. Well, there it is again. Pat Noonan creating something out of what looked to be relatively harmless. The freshman can explode into a hole.
So much confidence exuded on the dribble by the young player. And look at this. He's a left-sided player, but there was plenty of power on that right-footed shot.
Adam Ayer almost knocked it into his own net. Here's an in-swinger to the near post. Ayer with the header down. Mack chasing after it. He turns and throws it right back into the box. Here's Garcia. Flag is up. He's offside. The flag is up. The linesman seeing that the player was too close to goal.
Very close call. And Nick Garcia may not have been the Indiana player in the offside position, because he's making his run from deeper. And there were a couple of Indiana players on the left side of your screen, perhaps, that were the ones that were actually flagged offside, because Garcia, as a defender, was coming late into the play.
As you know, you have to be at least even with the next to last defender back when the ball is played in order to be onside. If you are closer to goal than that, of course, you're off. Stewart giving chase. A little pressure from Carroll, and Stewart puts it out of bounds. Yuri Lavernenko, who will graduate at midterm, tries to pick up the return. Ayer is there, and he clears it out. Mack. Callahan coming out to have a look at him. Mack takes him on one-on-one, draws Purcell and drops it off. Fedeski turns it toward Garcia. And nobody's making a run within 20 yards of him, so he's either going to have to play it square or just boom it. And again, no one to whom he can pass the ball, and Garcia ends up just knocking it out. Not a whole lot of motion ahead of the ball by Indiana, and when the ball carrier is holding it, he's got to have some options. "19 minutes into the match here at the College Cup. Rojas for Santa Clara. Fighting through Tauber. Makes the move past him. Recovery by Tauber. Swan comes over to clean it out. Rojas still in pursuit. Swan turns it up. Tauber, nice catch volley. Off of Callahan, out of bounds. Now as Indiana works it up, are the Hoosiers going to move ahead of the ball? In other words, the players who are closer to goal than the ball, will they make a few more runs, give their passers a few more options?
But Santa Clara makes it so difficult to exploit those options because they defend in such an organized fashion, and they defend in numbers.
This is Burden up the right side. Fires it for Purcell. It's behind him. Fedeski coming over. Up toward midfield, and it twists out of bounds.
Not terribly attractive play by either team so far, and that's somewhat to be expected in a championship game. No one really wants to knock the ball around and hold it for fear of giving that telling turnover in their own half of the field.
Cannell has the flip throw. We're going to see it right here. He's getting opposition from Mack, who's standing right on the sideline. Cannell just about takes Mack's head off, and Garcia clears.
Hey, Nick Garcia! The ball comes to you, just kick it out! You're a fraidy cat!
Hear a little bit of razzing from the crowd. Santa Clara is a team that is quite content to let its opponent hold the ball. Possession time means nothing to the Broncos. Connecticut probably held the ball for about 70% of that semifinal match, but Santa Clara made it count twice with counterattacks. Rodopoulos, but Swan wins the challenge. Rojas controlling. Rojas against Snow, goes down the wing. This is Purcell against Garcia. Garcia gets popped from behind, and it'll be a free kick from the left side of the defense for Indiana. This is the Men's College Cup, the national championship game. Santa Clara wearing red, Indiana in white. Alongside Ty Keogh, I'm Jack Edwards. We're coming your way from Erickson Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. The Broncos of Santa Clara wearing the red against Indiana's white. And you see so far that there's only been one shot apiece. Both of these teams went to quadruple overtime in the semifinals before prevailing. Santa Clara beating Connecticut and Indiana beating UCLA. We're about midway through the first half, and we have a timeout on the field. Santa Clara and Indiana. A lot of old World Cup stuff on Classic 2. I've lost a lot of sleep channel surfing late at night and stumble across like the 1974 World Cup highlights. And it's like, oh no, there goes another hour I should be sleeping.
This ball curled out of play before coming back in. The pressure exerted by the Santa Clara forwards, like Sean Purcell, number 10 there, Ari Rodopoulos, making it a little bit difficult for Indiana to play the quality of balls that they would like to into their playmakers, Lavernenko and Ryan Mack. We talked about that at the top of the show.
Fundenberger going directly into the box, intended for Carroll, but he wasn't onto the cross.
Now, Santa Clara took the difficult route to get here. They had to play on the road all the way along to get to the Men's College Cup here. But how about defeating number 1 seeded Duke University in the second round by a score of 4-2? And we saw Sean Purcell Santa Clara's number 10 scored 2 goals in the semifinal to eliminate UConn, but he also scored 2 goals against Duke in the second round of this tournament.
3 of the Broncos' 4 wins in overtime, 1 of them on penalty kicks. That the first rounder against Stanford. The Broncos are patient. They know their chances will come. Here's one of them. Callahan on the free kick decides to go for Denton. Tries to draw it back, but just mishit the ball.
It's a pretty fast surface. You know Denton's legs have got to be a little bit heavy. All of the real estate, all the territory he covered in the semifinal, including those 4 sudden death overtimes. He just couldn't turn the ball.
T.J. Hannick, native of Wheeling, West Virginia. Rojas wins the 50-50. Tauber. Callahan can't settle. This is Mack. Into the middle to Lavernenko. Lavernenko quickly plays it ahead for Fundenberger, but Air steps up and Denton gets it to Callahan. Callahan straight up the field for Purcell. He's working 1-on-2. Fedeschi gives him a bump, takes the ball away. Good work by Fedeschi. Now a little square pass, 1-2 with Lavernenko, and he tries to chip it up the sideline for Fundenberger, but it comes out.
Fundenberger already playing with a yellow card, so he's got to restrain himself somewhat, but doesn't seem to be holding back much here as he battles through the ball.
Fedeschi.
Actually, Fedeschi, not Fundenberger.
Again, a lot of balls in the air. Now Indiana trying to counter. Mack popping it up for Fundenberger. Callahan. Callahan looking for Rodopoulos on a long through ball. Hannick way out to control the penalty area, as a good goalkeeper will.
And that's all it takes. Santa Clara's whole game built on forcing the turnover at midfield for this sudden attack the other way.
Seems that Indiana's front men, Ty, have not been making those quick 15 and 20-yard sprints. Now here comes another counter. Purcell with Fedeschi on his back. Purcell's blast save, Hannick.
We talked about the patience of Santa Clara, and they were patient. Now they're starting to see some openings. And Purcell found some space there to line up a shot. Actually, T.J. Hannick doing quite well to gather it very cleanly.
Tauber misplays it. Rodopoulos onto the right. Into the middle for Purcell. Fedeschi had body position. Hannick picks it up.
Nick Garcia conferring with his goalkeeper, T.J. Hannick. Garcia, number 3 for Indiana, a finalist in all of the Collegiate Player of the Year ballots. Considered to be the best defender in the country. Just a junior at Indiana.
Another long ball in air, heads it back to the center circle. Tauber down onto the left side for Noonan, and this is Lavernenko turning. Tackled away by Rojas. Rodopoulos with a move, and he beats Swan. Beats Lavernenko. It's 3-on-3. Rodopoulos closing. Swan with the recovery. Rodopoulos tries to turn it to the middle, blocked out by Swan. It'll be corner kick for Santa Clara.
Well, Rodopoulos there capitalizing on his speed and strength and nearly breaking through.
Got a substitution for Indiana. That's Tyler Hawley going in for Matt Fundenberger. Fundenberger not able to make the kind of quick runs up front that we're accustomed to seeing from him. To the short post, and Hannick punches it over the end line, so we'll get another corner kick for Santa Clara.
And T.J. Hannick had to go through Sean Purcell. You see number 10, Sean Purcell, creeping in right next to the goalkeeper, trying to make it very difficult for him to get to those high balls.
Again to the short post. Hannick on the rebound again, fighting against Purcell, going up for it.
Yeah, Purcell very deliberately fronting the goalkeeper, T.J. Hannick.
Snow playing a little 1-2 with Mack, and this is Snow going long for the middle. Cannell turning it for Rojas. Rojas, Noonan steals it from behind. Nick Garcia walking it up. What are his options? He comes wide to Snow. Garcia resetting.
Indiana trying to draw Santa Clara out a little bit here, but Santa Clara's so patient.
Tauburn looking for the long ball, but again, a turnover. Off the exchange of pop-ups, it's Mack with the heel pass. Lavranenko has Carroll in the middle. Long ball across and air. Check it. Burden elects to boot it out over the end line for a corner kick for Indiana. Outside the lines brings you the story of sports behind bars. Sep Brett Davis is into the game for Santa Clara, replacing Purcell, who has done some hard running up front. Check that substitution not recognized by the referee, so Davis is still waiting to get into the game. I jumped the gun on it. Rojas belts it clear to take the pressure off. Snow sends it the other way. Air heading it down. The opportunity for players to settle, very few have taken the opportunity to do it. Now Purcell to Rodopoulos. Rodopoulos wanting to go to his left, forced to his right. Good shepherding by Swan, and Noonan comes back to take the ball.
Tremendous hustle by Noonan. Remember, he's the wing midfielder known for his offensive production, coming all the way back to make a big defensive play.
Lavranenko on the counter for Indiana. Lavranenko, the through ball for Carroll. Carroll back to Lavranenko all the way in. He shoots, he scores! A 100-yard rush by the Hoosiers. It's 1-0.
Well, that's where the turnover occurred on the far side of the field. Remember, Pat Noonan started that by coming back to make the big defensive play. Win possession for Indiana.
Substitution for Santa Clara entering the lineup. Number 9.
Ball played through nicely by Lavranenko to Alexei Carroll. That's that Ukraine connection. They play it to a T. Very smooth. Look at Lavranenko with his head up, picking out Alexei Carroll. Carroll holds it and plays it. A nice little drag through by Lavranenko, in fact, because the pass was slightly behind him from Alexei Carroll. The whole play started with Noonan tracking back to win it. Now it's played up that left side. It's like Ryan Mack here on the ball. And now from the halfway line, look at Lavranenko. He takes all the space out in front of him. Very intelligent. Plays it into Carroll, gets it back from Carroll, drags it through, and a nice little finish into the far corner of the net.
Well, Lavranenko and Carroll were attacking the very space that Keith Burden usually occupies for Santa Clara. And it was Burden who you saw going down, twisting his knee, catching his cleat, and going down. Now that's the chance you take when you move up as a defender, that you're going to leave an open space and no one's going to rotate back and fill in for you. And as you see, Burden getting helped off here, and this is not good news for the Broncos. That's exactly where Indiana happened to attack. Now, I'm not sure the Hoosiers knew that he was the right back going down, but they saw the opening. They attacked it in numbers.
Give Lavranenko full credit for exploiting that space. It appeared in front of him, and he took it. And eventually combined with his Ukrainian counterpart, Alexei Carroll, for a little give and go.
Now Davis is in for Purcell, and number 2, Goring. Michael Goring has gone in for the injured Burden. Goring, if you were with us for the semifinal, you'll remember, had one bad knee at the beginning of the game and had 2 bad knees by the end of the game. He had to be carried off in that one, but returned to action and had a fitness test today and apparently tested cleanly enough to satisfy the medical staff.
But there's no way Goring can be 100%.
No. Cannell has that flip throw. He's going to get the direct challenge from John Swan, who's standing right on the line. Here it is, going to the penalty arc. Callahan chipping it up toward the goal mouth all the way to the far post, headed back into play nicely. And the linesman on the far side ruled that the ball had curled completely out of bounds before the header. So it'll be a goal kick.
Callahan, a quick-thinking midfielder, and good from the left side. In fact, Callahan had the first assist on the game winner in the 4th sudden death overtime, setting up Sean Purcell.
Rojas after the 50-50 ball, popping it up. Mack losing to Cannell. Cannell for the Santa Clara Broncos ahead for Callahan on a nice pass. They got numbers right side. Rodopoulos has it come off his heel. Swan volleys it free. Cannell chips it right side, not where he wanted it, and it runs out of bounds. Well, there's a good example of Santa Clara putting the ball on the ground and finding a through pass.
Although a miscue there by Cannell, he was under some pressure.
But in midfield, Santa Clara was able to move the ball through by getting the front men to make diagonal runs, get themselves open, and instead of playing a pop-up ball into the air where Indiana is so strong, Santa Clara settling it and getting something to work on the ground.
There's just a bit more space starting to open up on this field compared to the early minutes of the half, and that's what Santa Clara is starting to use, because in the first 15 minutes, they barely kept the ball on the ground at all.
Carroll on the far side trying to come across for Mack. Callahan volleys it forward. Rojas on the go. Noonan racing back after him. Well, Noonan with some good conscientious hustling back toward his own goal. It's paid off again, this time forcing a throw in.
Noonan, a freshman on Indiana who's made a huge difference, particularly in the NCAA tournament. He's taken it to another level. A goal and an assist in the semifinal victory over UCLA in the quadruple sudden death overtime.
Cannell volleying it forward, but Mack is on it. Hawley trying to get it through midfield. Callahan has it straight up the field. Another good through pass. This is Davis. Davis's long drive. Garcia on the block. Lavernenko collects.
Santa Clara perhaps a little too predictable on many of their attacks. They'll keep coming at you, but it's straight ahead, not a lot of subtlety. A little bit of subtlety from their left back, Eric Denton. Also, Sean Michael Callahan showing there on the through ball at midfield that he can string some passes together.
Fedeschi up ahead, intended for Hawley. Swan pops it up. Hawley down the wing. Lavernenko running onto it, smashes into Denton, but it'll be a throw-in for Santa Clara. Lavernenko pleading his case for an obstruction, but Denton made sure he was close enough to the ball that he could win that call. Tauber with a little rush here. Tauber with the shift. He's got Carroll with him. Tauber going 1-on-3. Needs a little support. Turns it toward the middle, and it gets all the way across. Cleared out of there by Air. Rodopoulos off the chest. Can't handle it cleanly. B.J. Snow turns it back for the Hoosiers. Snow against Rojas. Chips it right side. Lavernenko heads it toward the middle. Denton lets it go to Air and now brings it back. Denton the slip to Cannell. Cannell going long for Rodopoulos. 40-yard pass. Rodopoulos working 1-on-2. Swan on him. Rodopoulos turns the corner and Garcia comes over to help out. It'll be a corner kick, Santa Clara.
Well, that's some real speed by number 11, Ari Rodopoulos. That's the threat for Santa Clara. They have to weather the storm back at their own end and then get the ball forward quickly. Rodopoulos really outmatching his marker, Swan, number 4 of Indiana.
Callahan to take the corner. And normally Burden would be in on one of these net crashing situations, but the injured defender is on the bench. Punched free by Hannick. Davis settles it out top. Turns to get away from Snow and drops it off to Cannell on the perimeter. He chips it right back into the box. Tauber's header contested by Smith. Swan is down. Now check that, it's Tauber who is down. Badly sprained knee is the word on Keith Burden.
That's a big loss for Santa Clara. Burden, their tallest player, and also a solid right defender who knows how to go forward. Justin Tauber here paying the price. High ball coming in. He wins the head ball. Then he's crashed into by Smith.
Going for the ball. He just got an elbow up there, and that'll happen. All right, so Tauber comes off. And I don't know if Indiana's going to have a man come in for him. Oh, yeah, he's got the hockey player wound going here. Any cut on the head will bleed a whole lot.
Tauber will most likely be back the moment they're able to stop the bleeding. May take a little while.
Phil Presser comes into the game. And we're also going to get a substitution for Santa Clara. Jay Totten, number 6, replacing Rojas, number 7. So Presser and Totten both in the game. Hawley on the run. Cannell. We're going to get a high kick called against Carroll.
Jack, what we saw immediately following the goal was some really panicky play by Santa Clara. It looked like Indiana had gained some confidence and momentum from the goal and were going for a second one. But they did weather the storm. Santa Clara is a little more organized now at the back, and they're still looking for that quick ball up front, especially to Ari Rodopoulos, who looks like he's got plenty of gas left in his tank, and Sean Purcell up front as well, always a threat.
Johnson puts it up for grabs. Noonan in midfield for Lavernenko. Taken away by Stewart. Little chip ahead. Oh. Well, Mack trying to win a call, but he hauls down Goring, and Goring with the 2 bad knees is quite sore.
Gutsy performance by Goring, and he was grabbed first. He reached back and grabbed Mack himself. There's some retaliation by Ryan Mack.
Goring isn't going to grimace if he can help it. It was almost humorous. I mean, tremendous courage on this guy playing with 2 bad knees, but it was almost humorous watching him take his fitness test, because when he was running away from the trainer
and the coaches,
he was clearly gritting his teeth to try to look as if he was fluid and fit. And when he was running back, he tried to have a relaxed expression on his face, and everybody knew what was going on. I mean, if this were a regular season game, there's no way the guy's playing, but it's for the national championship. Lavernenko ahead for Carroll, lays it off nicely for Mack. Mack goes to work on Denton. No way you're going through that wall, as Callahan was back to help. Presser settles quickly. Mack. Denton going back for it. Fedeschi on the overlap run. Denton again playing the body well, screening the other man away from the ball by putting himself between the attacker and the ball.
Well, Santa Clara here hanging tough. And it's Denton using his body. Fedeschi, though, so aggressive. Fedeschi couldn't keep it in. Denton there to close him down. And as you see Santa Clara hang tough here, you wonder, are they a team of destiny? Can they get back into this? They surprised so many people. And the fact is, of the 4 games that they had to win to get here to the championship game, 3 of them were overtime games.
Indiana plays it out. It'll be a Santa Clara throw. Denton to take it. This is Davis, who got kicked in the head in an altercation against Connecticut. Davis running the baseline nicely, slips it ahead for Totten. The shot, save handed, gets a pop-up on the line and headed out and over. Swan comes back to save the day for the Hoosiers.
Goal line heroics by the Indiana Hoosiers. John Swan at the right place at the right time. Smith doing very well along the end line there. Gets it out front. This ball is deflected. Quite a save by Hannick. Nick Garcia back there on the line just in case. But it's Swan who ends up being the hero and clearing the ball over the bar.
On the corner kick to the short post. Carroll on the header to clear. Justin Tauber, who was bloodied earlier, number 14 for Indiana, has returned to the game for Presser. So Tauber, number 14 in white, is in there. And he'll have a souvenir scar for the rest of his life after this game. Fortunately for him, it's in the hairline. Swan with a clean tackle on Denton. Garcia sending it up to midfield, but Cannell back to pick it off.
Well, Santa Clara looked like they were in trouble after they gave up the goal, and they were even having a lot of difficulty maintaining any possession, but they're starting to pick up a little bit more possession here as they look at the clock. They know that they need to generate some offense to try and even the score.
Well, for highlights of the men's and women's. On another 50-50 challenge, it's Lavernenko settling, going left wing, looking middle for Carroll. Denton comes over to take it off of Hawley's head. Now Mack with a chance. Cannell on the clean tackle. This is Denton.
Indiana at this point would do well to make sure they go into the locker room at 1-0. You're going to see them play more conservatively here.
Callahan wins the challenge from Swan. Now pops up another header. Mack loses to Rodopoulos. Snow over the top for Indiana. Davis trying to settle it. Cannell distributes to Callahan. Callahan making the run, and here's Rodopoulos on the left side where he's so good. Makes the move toward the baseline. The shot right on. Save Hanning. Rodopoulos loves to go to his left.
Ari Rodopoulos creating some problems and causing a lot of action out in front of TJ Hannig's goal.
Goring popping it up. Noonan on the challenge for Indiana, but it's out of bounds. It'll be a throw-in for Santa Clara.
Rodopoulos here, very good in the one-on-one situations. He has strength as well as speed. Good positioning there by the Indiana goalkeeper, TJ Hannig.
Off the deflection, Totten giving chase against BJ Snow of Indiana. Snow turns it out of bounds off of Totten. The Hoosiers will have the throw in here.
Santa Clara have changed their forward line a bit through substitution. They've actually brought up, along with Rodopoulos, Kyle Smith, who started the game as a midfielder, now playing as the right forward.
Bruce Arena, coach of the national team, joins us at halftime. We hope you'll stay tuned for that. Presser is into the game to give Lavranenko a couple of extra minutes of rest here in the closing minutes of the first half. Mack at midfield lays it off for Tauber, who had the head cut but has returned. Tauber on the challenge against Callahan. Callahan screams and goes down, but play continues. Presser on the right side, moving it back toward the middle, now slicing it, intended for Noonan. Goring on the chest trap, and he volleys it clear. Swan wins it. Callahan brings it down. This is Air, who's up from the defense. Hard tackle. Swan wins the ball. Tauber's pass intercepted Denton. Hawley on the tackle to win it back. He gets it to Carroll. Carroll on the go right side against Air and Callahan. Air takes it away. Little room to move here. Now up the wing for Totten with Snow on his back. Good run by Davis. Davis has Smith in the middle. Back heel tackle by Swan, and Presser clears.
Well, that's two big defensive plays for Swan here in the closing moments of the first half. Remember, he cleared the ball off the line with his head moments ago, and that time with a very dangerous looking break by Smith. It was Swan who got his foot to the ball.
Free kick coming for Santa Clara. Well, when the Broncos run forward to the ball and make themselves available for the short passes, they look a lot more organized in midfield. They're able to press it forward. There has been a little swing of momentum here. We're seeing some resiliency from the Broncos. Now Mack of Indiana running toward the sideline.
Number 2 for Santa Clara, Michael Goring, getting forward here to try and get his head on this high ball into the box.
I think the Mack's drawstring actually has come loose on his shorts. That's an unusual stoppage. Be careful with those scissors. I think what happened was that there was another player reaching for him.
There's Michael Goring, who was on the all-tournament team last year at the Men's College Cup for Santa Clara.
Long serve into the box. Garcia pops it up. Tauber, little scissors out of there. Cannell playing it back. Stewart. Cannell with Presser right on. Playing it square for Denton. Denton's long ball. Hawley on the pop-up header. We're in the final minute of play of the first half of the Men's College Cup, the national championship game. Indiana in white. Carroll was offside. Play on as Santa Clara gains possession. Hawley leaves it off for Presser. Moves around Cannell. Presser trying to play it square off of Davis. Carroll picks it up. Carroll going 1-on-4.
That's Ari Rodopoulos coming back to make the defensive play. He's been the most dangerous offensive threat the entire game for Santa Clara, but that time he played some defense.
Swan on a dangerous attempt to clear as Smith would have been walking in alone on a misplay, but he managed to make enough contact that the ball got out of there. This is Stewart. Final 20 seconds of play in the first half.
10, 9,
Santa Clara, when scoring first, is 15-0-1 this year. When the opponent scores first, 1 win, 3 losses, and 2 ties. So the Broncos, who need to score first to win, according to the trend, now have to come back to beat an Indiana team, which, thanks to Lavernenko's efforts, is 16-0-0 when scoring first this season. National team coach and longtime Virginia coach Bruce Arena joins us at halftime. NCAA championship game in Division I soccer. Alongside Ty Keogh, I'm Jack Edwards. And Ty, we saw the play going back and forth. Both teams a little bit sluggish at the start after going 4 overtimes in the semifinals. And then when Keith Burden went down on the attack for Santa Clara, Indiana immediately countered right to the position he had vacated. And what a great 100-yard rush it was.
And actually, the first 15 minutes of this game, very poorly played. Neither team could really find their legs, and that's understandable after the 4 sudden death overtimes each team played on Friday night to get here. But the fact is, when players go down, and there are several players playing with injuries, and now Burden's out for the game, that can change a game completely. And this could have been the game-winning goal. Burden went down with the knee injury. Yuri Lavernenko ends up finishing this off, but it starts way at the other end. And Ryan Mack had gotten the ball from Pat Noonan. Here's Lavernenko. Now Lavernenko is able to exploit the empty space in midfield, plays it into Alexi Carroll. They have such a great understanding, and Carroll returns it to Lavernenko for the finish. And it was such a great setup by Carroll as he froze a defender before him. But look at this chance by Santa Clara. A save initially by Hannigan, then cleared off the line by John Swan at the last possible moment. Rodopoulos, though, has been a threat throughout the game on the counterattack for Santa Clara. His speed and power forcing chances out in front of Indiana's goal.
Let's take a look at the internetsoccer.com stats in the first half. The shots in favor of Santa Clara. And as you see, Santa Clara goalie Rusty Johnson, the line below that, not needing to make a single save, while TJ Hannigan has been challenged 4 times.
And for all the talk of the physical nature of a final in a championship game, 15 fouls is pretty reasonable.
Well, it was a good move by Brian Hall, the referee, early with the caution on Fedeschi. Rusty Johnson and Santa Clara hoping to come back against Indiana for the Men's College Cup, the national championship game. Indiana with a 1-0 lead on Santa Clara as we get set to start the second half. And the Broncos' target men have been getting a few touches.
Well, the Santa Clara target men have not managed a goal yet, but they have looked very dangerous in the counterattack, especially Purcell early on, and Rodopoulos more and more as the half went along.
As for Indiana, the Ukraine Dynamos, they connected on the game's lone goal.
Well, a couple of guys who started out with the Dynamo Kiev youth system, now in the United States since '92, and they have a tremendous understanding, and they combined beautifully to set up the goal for Indiana.
Indiana a little bit late coming back here to begin the second half, but we are ready for play, and there's TJ Hannig in the Hoosiers goal. Rusty Johnson at the other end. Santa Clara, wearing the maroon, will attack left to right against the defending national champion Indiana Hoosiers. There have been 8 programs that have had repeat championships. Indiana is one of them in '82 and '83. Fundenberger getting the start in the second half for Carroll. Mack fighting off Cannell, and Cannell wins that battle. On to the right to Goring. Goring going up the wing. Smith is a front runner now. He started the game on defense, but number 3 in red is now up on the front line trying to make something happen.
A little bit of history for the Santa Clara program. In fact, 10 years ago exactly, they were co-champions with Bruce Arena's University of Virginia squad.
Totten on the run against Swan, and it runs out of bounds. It'll be a throw-in for Santa Clara. Totten leaving it for Callahan. Down into the corner for Totten, working against BJ Snow. It's out of bounds off Totten, so Indiana takes it. First minute and a half of the second stanza here, and players just finding their legs, getting a rhythm. But often if there's a misplay in the defensive third, you'll see early, quick attacks. Denton, an All-American, playing it back to his goalkeeper, Rusty Johnson, out just to poke it back to the midfield circle. Cannell. Callahan settling back to Cannell. Off of Lavranenko. Tauber sends it up the right side, just over the defender to Carroll. Carroll working against Air. Carroll chipping for the middle, too far from Mack. Goring back on it. He lets it run out for the goal kick.
I think Bruce Arena made a very good point about the approach Santa Clara should take to the second half of play. What they really need to do is make sure that the game doesn't get busted wide open by the Indiana attack. Keep it very close. Don't take any chances. And little by little, look to take one the other way to even the score.
Mack on the challenge against Davis. It bounces through. Swan volleys it forward. Air heads it out toward the wing. Mack pops it up again. Cannell after it. It's a jumping contest right now. Here's Tauber on the through ball intended for Carroll. Air picks it off, sends it up ahead. It's Rodopoulos coming back for it. Again, a lot of turnovers in midfield. Smith touching it forward, just booming it back and forth here.
Yeah, it's looking a bit too much like the first half of play in which both teams struggled to maintain any possession for the first 15 minutes or so.
Goring with a little room on the right side. Fires it toward the penalty arc, intended for Smith. Garcia back on it. Noonan steers it aside for Garcia. Now he pushes it right side. But again, no passing options, so he would have had to have played a long ball. Nobody was coming back into the lanes to give him a short outlet. And thus, the long style of play results with a lot of turnovers in midfield. Mack going to work. Tauber first timing it for Fundenberger, but it's out of bounds.
The difficulty for Santa Clara here is as they start to push players forward and get into the attack, they have to worry about a player like Alexi Carroll at the other end, who only needs one chance to ice this game for Indiana. There's Carroll being marked tightly there by All-American Air, number 4, the captain for Santa Clara.
Although, frankly, when we speak about second goals icing games, I thought Indiana had iced it against UCLA and the Bruins with one of the all-time efforts. And it was just effort. They just hauled themselves right back into that game, scoring 2 goals late to send it to the OTs. Cannell in midfield. This is Smith leaving it off for Davis. Air. Denton. Cannell. Intercepted Noonan. Cannell playing it back. Air a long ball. Smith going up for it. Nice turn by Davis. Air for Rodopoulos. Check that, it's Totten. Totten's drive blocked. Garcia out of bounds for the corner.
Well, again, that's Nick Garcia's job to patrol in behind the other Indiana defenders to plug any holes. And Totten did see a space in here, and he puts it in nicely to Rodopoulos. It gets the return pass. Real good combination with Nick Garcia there, though, closing him down quite well, but giving up the corner.
Callahan's corner to the far post. Hannick way up to control it.
And Hannick forced to have to deal with a lot of bodies out in front on every high ball coming in. Santa Clara very aggressive, sending in Sean Purcell, Ari Rodopoulos to try and interfere with him.
Noonan jogging it up right side. Look for the change of pace. He beats Cannell. Now adding speed. Carroll lays it off. And Davis just booms it out. It'll be a corner kick for Indiana. Great change of pace there by Noonan. Slacking the pace and then hitting the Jets.
Pat Noonan plays like a much more mature player. He's so calm, cool, and collected despite being a first-year collegiate player.
Yuri Lavranenko to take the corner for Indiana. His mother is here at this game from the Ukraine, and also for the midterm graduation of her son. Lavranenko right into the goal mouth. Noonan up for the head, but Santa Clara able to clear. Going right back in, looked offside, and Fundenberger was behind the defense when the ball was played.
Santa Clara executing very well on an offside trap. The minute the ball was played wide, you saw the entire line of Santa Clara defenders sprint out. At this point, they'd already taken their positions out nearer the edge of the area, leaving Fundenberger all alone in behind in the offside position.
The only benefit of having all these football lines on the field is it is really easy to determine the offsides no matter what angle you're looking at it. Fundenberger takes down Rodopoulos. Play on, says the referee, as Santa Clara has the advantage. Davis, a long ball into the middle, a little bit hopeful, but Smith runs onto it. Big collision. He goes down with a bruised shin. Play on, says the ref again. Smith still down. Totten in the corner, makes the move to beat Snow. Smith is back up. Totten makes the move again, blocked out of there by the D. Swan trying to clear. Totten with a great single-handed effort.
Well, an uncharacteristic mistake by Nick Garcia, the sweeper for Indiana University. Nearly cost Indiana. Garcia had given the ball away, and here he nails Totten. He gets a yellow card, in fact, after the play for that challenge. The advantage was played as Santa Clara still had possession. That's a yellow card against Nick Garcia. The play stayed alive. Santa Clara still having a chance to score.
So of the 3 players across the back for Indiana, 2 of them have yellow cards. Fedeski in the 10th minute, and now Garcia here early in the second half. Davis for Goring, playing with the 2 bad knees. Lavernenko over to help out, but Goring beats him with the inside move. Now chips corner for Totten. Can Totten draw it back? He goes to the far post, but off the outside of the foot and out of bounds. Goal kick for Indiana.
Totten, some good maneuvering on the previous play in that corner to dance along the end line and get past his defender after that challenge by Nick Garcia, in which the advantage was played. This time, though, Totten, I think, showing that he needed some oxygen, not able to get around on the ball.
Well, Santa Clara clearly here in the early stages of the second half is enjoying the better of the opportunities, but here comes Indiana on another one of these long rushes. It is Mack. Mack against Denton, drops it off for Noonan. Callahan controlling for the Broncos. Long chip into the middle for Smith. Swan rides him off. 50-50 ball in the center circle. Lavernenko relatively unchallenged. Goring wins it for Santa Clara. Goring on the side. Fundenberger challenging him. The chip up the wing, nobody there for the Broncos, and it'll roll out of bounds. Who's trying to push up into the attack.
That was a sweet double cut by Noonan on the dribble.
Little flick by Mack, attempting to get it over the defense. Denton is back for it. Fedeski intercepting at midfield. Denton takes it right back. It's a 3-on-4. Denton hauled down. No advantage here. So it'll be a free kick. Play getting pretty physical. A lot of players starting to reach with the hands.
Well, otherwise known as a tactical foul. Denton had the advantage, had just pushed his way past Tarver. Tarver takes the man out, allowing now Indiana to reorganize and get players back on defense. And he's pretty fortunate to avoid a yellow card himself on that one.
Rodopoulos on the right side fires it into the box. Goring, who had pushed up on the attack, looking for the header. Mack coming back. Cannell aggressive against Mack. Now Mack loses his footing. Here's Callahan with a rush. Callahan going right past Fedeski. Garcia stops him with the tackle. Could have been a handball against Fundenberger. The referee allows play to continue. Cannell losing. Noonan dropping it off for Snow, who sends it up. Well, Santa Clara, good aggressiveness, winning a lot of 50-50 balls and pressing the attack against Indiana. The Hoosiers can't afford to go back into a shell because we've seen the deadly finishing capabilities of the Santa Clara forwards.
And number 21 for Indiana, B.J. Snow. No relation to the Snow brothers, who were instrumental in the 80s dynasty of the Indiana Hoosiers.
Davis coming through midfield. Tarver trips him. Free kick for Santa Clara.
Battle here, and you're seeing Santa Clara win the ball at midfield more often now. Callahan very quick on the dribble, but Nick Garcia very alert to stop that attack.
Goring, a pop up toward the penalty arc. Headed out by Snow, and a push away from the play by Santa Clara. Free kick for Indiana.
And B.J. Snow out of Kalamazoo, Michigan. The great goal-scoring Snow brothers for Indiana in the 80s were from the Chicago area.
There's Keith Burden, who had to leave the game with a knee injury in the first half, and while he was down and injured, play continued. Indiana going 100 yards, the passing combination resulting in Yuri Lavrenenko's goal, the only marker of the match here. Lavrenenko called for a hold here, and Santa Clara restarts. Denton in the middle, Cannell chopped down. Well, Tarver's going to get it here.
Yeah.
Third yellow card of the match against Indiana.
Well, remember, in '98 in the semifinal, Indiana trounced Santa Clara 4-0 at the Men's College Cup. And at that point, Mitch Murray, the Santa Clara coach, they were surprised by the physical play of Indiana. They are resolved not to be surprised by it today. And Santa Clara set out to try and match the physical play of Indiana, but they trail 1-0.
Cannell is up. He's okay. You got to look at Tauber. Of course, Tauber had to leave the game earlier because he got a cut on his head. Lavrenenko, a little volley into the middle from Mack. High kick there, but Goring takes it away. Goring's long diagonal pass. Fedeschi intercepts. Air running onto it. Challenged by 13 Carroll. Denton on the far side gives it up to Noonan. Carroll with Noonan. Noonan racing into open ground. Noonan has Fundenberger across the middle. Johnson's hand on the ball keeps Fundenberger from finishing. Here's a counter chance. Rodopoulos can't play it around Snow. It would have been big numbers for Santa Clara on the counter. Again, Indiana slow getting back and caught in the offside trap.
But a desperation save by Rusty Johnson. Just getting his fingertips to a ball. And Noonan, good understanding with Alexi Carroll. Carroll puts Noonan into the space. Noonan has his head up, looking to target players across the top of the 6-yard box. And there's Rusty Johnson swatting the ball away and away from danger.
Fundenberger knocking it down in midfield. Stewart up the right wing. Smith playing it back. He's working on Snow. Davis turns it away from Lavrenenko. Cannell up the wing, intercepted Garcia. Lifts it over to Snow. Callahan intercepts. Smith quickly to Callahan. Plays it right off of Snow, but it comes back to Smith. He boots it off of Snow's behind. Here comes Noonan. Lavrenenko. Goring cleans him out. Well, Santa Clara is looking much more comfortable. The Broncos playing the ball on the ground, building their attack, and carrying the play here in the second half. This is Rodopoulos, who loves to go left, but now he goes right against Swan. Onto the left for Denton on the overlap. Denton with a burst of speed, crosses for the far post. He comes all the way through to Smith. He heads it back in, and Hannig controls. Now quickly, Indiana comes back looking for a counter.
Good hustle by Kyle Smith at the back post. Not a great cross by Denton. Kyle Smith's got that 3-stitch dent in his nose from the semifinal. Had to close the cut.
Smith with close quarters play along with Davis. Now Smith goes for the penalty arc for Rodopoulos. Rodopoulos trying to turn on Garcia. Turns the shot, goes off of Totten, his teammate. Lavrenenko bringing it up. Ball comes out of bounds at midfield. There is the nose of which you spoke.
3 stitches. Didn't even flinch. Right back into the play. Kyle Smith.
Sports Century is playing into the game for Ari Rodopoulos up front, and Anthony Chimienti, the leading goal scorer for the Broncos, coming off the bench. Chimienti nursing a bad ankle, but with about 30 minutes to go in the national championship game, he's going to get some action.
Well, with Rodopoulos now on the bench, one of the main threats for Santa Clara, he's just recharging his batteries. You know he won't be on the bench very long.
Yeah, you can come back into the game, unlike international play, where once you're subbed out, you're out. In college, you can come back, and we certainly will see Rodopoulos, at least we expect to. There's Carroll, who has come out for Indiana with Hawley in. Max long throw into the box, headed out of there. Swan pops it up right side. Noonan looking for it there. Bounces past his trap attempt. Callahan comes over to clean him out, and then Denton drives it out of bounds. They're going to rule that it is off Indiana on the challenge, so it'll be, no, we're going to get a foul called in play. It'll be a free kick, Santa Clara.
Yeah, Pat Noonan bumped Eric Denton there. Came in just a little bit late.
Garcia is turning and firing it. That'll be well out of bounds. Now, when in doubt in defense, turn and fire it high and wide.
Especially with a 1-goal lead.
Denton 45 yards from the end line. Down into the corner. Chimienti trying to go to work there. Fundenberger volleys it to midfield. Indiana just booming it out. Not really having any kind of concentrated attack through the middle third of the field, and Santa Clara is pitching camp. Chimienti on the turn. Up for Davis. It's a 3-on-2. Trying to play it to McLean. McLean has to turn it back to Callahan. This is Cannell with a little bit of room. Cannell right side for Goring. Goring on the advance. Clean tackle, Tauber. He sends Mack away. Cannell coming over hard from the side on the challenge. Mack chips it up. Stewart not clear if Air was going to take it. Now Air over to Denton. Lavranenko takes that in the side of the head. Hawley up the wing. Lavranenko against Denton. Couple of really fine players on the challenge there. Goes out of bounds for an Indiana throw-in.
Well, Indiana, a team that's not quite as deep as they were in '98 when they won the NCAA championship. A countryman of Yuri Lavranenko, Dima Kovalenko, no longer with IU. He moved on to MLS, a senior last year. Also Lazo Alavanya, another great playmaker in the midfield for Indiana.
Ryan Mack on the long throw in here. Air popping it up. McLean off his shoulder. Denton has to send it across his defensive third. Davis on it. It's out of bounds. The Hoosiers have a throw in. Indiana taking its time. Every second. Now, wait a second. It's now ruled a Santa Clara throw, so it must have touched an Indiana player on the way out.
Remember, Santa Clara also missing Keith Burden. Left the game with a knee injury in the first half of play, forcing Michael Goring to play more minutes than he's really able to with the bad knees.
Hawley off to Lavranenko. Lavranenko outside of the foot. Chip. Stewart intercepts. Settles it up ahead for Davis. Davis cleaned out by Tauber. Tauber trying to make the move around Cannell. Cannell wins it, but Lavranenko takes the ball. Lavranenko for Fundenberger in the middle. Popped up. Johnson controls.
Great ball by Lavranenko. Using the outside of the right boot to bend the ball into the target. Fundenberger. We have a look at it here. Lavranenko, tremendous vision. Look at the bend on this ball. He puts the English on it with the outside of the right foot. Good defensive header by Santa Clara so that Fundenberger did not have a clear header.
Denton with the soft volley. Chimienti trying to go around the back of Fedeski. Nothing doing there. Fundenberger turns it for Hawley. Hawley has Lavranenko in the middle. This is Noonan on the wing. Denton comes over to take care of business and sends it out of bounds. Again, the chance for the long throw, and Mack is going to make his way all the way across the field as you see Denton there. Denton, a first-team All-American. Mack has 8 assists on the year, and he can fire this thing right onto the face of the goal if he wants to. Callahan will stand on the sideline to challenge. Spinning throw. So it looked as if he lost his grip slightly. Handball called in the penalty area, so it'll be a free kick for Santa Clara as an Indiana player got something on it. Just a good look at Ryan Mack.
Scorer of the sudden death overtime goal for Indiana against UCLA.
Indiana strong in the air. Swan winning that ball. Johnson, check it. It's McLean on it now, far side. Santa Clara fires into the middle. Garcia heads it out. Fundenberger dropping it off. Here comes Mack. Lavranenko with a lot of room to move. Mack making a run ahead of the ball. Lavranenko chipping into the middle. Here's Fundenberger with a chance. Good hustle by Air to take the bouncing ball away.
Those are the kind of runs behind the Santa Clara defense. They can exploit that space. Santa Clara's defense likes to push up in a line, and Lavranenko saw that space and put the ball into the space.
Noonan's cross for Mack. The header rolls out of bounds. Lavranenko can't close in time to keep it in play. And there's Noonan, his quick cross, getting the opportunity.
Noonan getting a chance to really line up a driven cross towards the near post. Not quite connecting, but those are the most difficult kinds of crosses for defenders and goalkeepers to deal with. They're not in the air very long. They get to their target very quickly.
In midfield, Chimienti taken down from behind. Free kick for Santa Clara. Chimienti playing with a bad ankle as it is. Long ball right side. Swan wins it. Goring takes it away for Santa Clara. Lobs it right corner. This is Smith. Swan giving him a bump. Smith against Swan. Swan wins the ball cleanly. Smith pushes him, takes him down.
Well, number 4 for Indiana, John Swan's had a pretty strong defensive game. Good play there, and remember in the first half, he was the guy that cleared the ball off the goal line with his head. Kyle Smith almost had him beat, and he's barely touched. That was some good dramatic talents there exhibited by the defender, Swan.
Denton on the left side. Again, another turnover. Fundenberger. Denton on the challenge. Fundenberger up the wing for Mack. Cannell coming back. Mack was the one who grabbed. He ends up going down. There's a long blast toward the middle, and Johnson handles it easily, unchallenged. Tells his teammates to push up. Low drop kick right on Davis's foot. Davis, the one-on-one move against Tauber. McLean in the middle. Good numbers for Santa Clara. Cuts it back for Callahan. Callahan lets it run through. Intended for Chimienti. Goring firing right for the penalty spot. Fedeski heads it clear. Cannell. Goring. Davis. Lavranenko from behind, helping to take it away. But here's Goring. The pace going Santa Clara's way. Off Lavranenko. Fedeski, check it, Fundenberger trying to head it clear. Cannell into the middle. Snow boots it into the stands. Less than 21 minutes to go here in regulation time as Santa Clara presses to try to tie up defending national champion Indiana. Cannell has the flip throw. Mack will challenge him right on the sideline, far side. Line drive right to the penalty spot. Stewart on the head attempt. Chimienti hit the crossbar off of Garcia. Garcia saves a goal for Indiana. What a murderous volley.
How did Nick Garcia get his head to that one? And that's not the first time he's done that exact same thing.
He took it in the mouth, I think.
In the quarterfinal match against Penn State at IU last week, he cleared a ball off the line. Look at the long throw from Cannell. And it's in behind. Look at the power on this shot. First it hits Hanig, and then how can Garcia react after it's already been deflected by the goalkeeper's right hand, and he still keeps it out of the net.
Disgust from Keith Burden. Here's a chance for Hawley at the other end going 1-on-2. Stewart and Air clean him out. The Broncos try to counter. Air with a lot of spring in his stride, trying to send it right side. Back comes Tauber, tackled away Stewart. Lavranenko here. This is some of the most spirited play of the afternoon. Max selling the dummy, and it comes out on the right to Noonan, working against Callahan. Noonan on the turn. Callahan takes it away right through the legs. Shoulder charge, that's legal both ways. It runs out of bounds. It'll be a throw in for Santa Clara.
Noonan not happy with the call, but he had his arms in there along with the shoulder.
They did call a push, excuse me.
Yeah. an added push there before play was restarted.
Denton's 60-yarder curls out of bounds. We've got a timeout on the field. About 19 minutes to go in the national championship game. That's Nick Garcia, who, for the moment at least, is the man of the match for Indiana, having kept this thing out of the back of the goal.
Well, incredible reactions by Nick Garcia. First, the ball flicked onto the back post. Chimienti, look at this. Garcia piling into his own net after having saved the day for the Indiana Hoosiers. And it's a little bit of luck, but it's also tremendous competitive instincts by Nick Garcia, a finalist for all of the Player of the Year awards collegiately this season and last year's defensive MVP of the Men's College Cup.
Steal on the far side by Carroll. Carroll on the go against Denton, challenged by Callahan also. Denton, Carroll into the middle. Air has it, chips it up and volleys it clear. Fedeski on the pop-up. Here comes the counter. Long ball for Chimienti, who had that great volley. Chimienti will take the throw. Cannell calling for the ball. Chimienti on the far side. Popped up Snow. Snow was stretching his calves very carefully during the timeout, so I don't know if he's having cramps or if he's just feeling a little bit of stiffness coming on there, but it's worth mentioning because if Santa Clara can get a break in his direction against number 21 Snow, they might be able to turn him, find an advantage there.
Well, in a very calculating strategy by Mitch Murray, the Santa Clara coach, he's held in reserve his two most dangerous attackers, Sean Purcell and Ari Rodopoulos. And as the score has stayed close, just 1-0, he's going to try and bring their fresh legs on late.
Hawley on a long run to get it away from Johnson, into the middle for Carroll. Taken away, Stewart. He clears one out of the 6. Rebound shot by Lavernenko. McLean gets it outside to the perimeter, but Indiana has another chance here. Noonan chips it far side. Goring pops it up. Tauber heading it back. Callahan can't clear. Tauber poking at it. Lavernenko settling. Moving toward the middle, outside of the foot pass for Mack. Goring challenging. Mack volleying it right into the middle. Cannell clears it out of bounds to take the pressure off. That was good effort by Jeff Stewart, taking the ball out of the 6-yard box.
Well, much like Nick Garcia at the other end moments ago, ball out in front, the net empty, and Jeff Stewart makes the save.
Flicked on, the ball in the box again. Cannell gets it out. Long volley is wide. Swan on the 25-yard attempt. And here comes Sean Purcell into the game for Scott McLean. So right now, the Santa Clara front runners are Purcell, Davis, and Chimienti. Again, Chimienti, the leading goal scorer, as you see McLean going to the bench. And you understand his skill level when you realize that he did not volley that ball. It was a side volley. He did not put it up high in the stands where even a lot of seasoned professionals put those chances. Ball up around the waist. It's a great, great athlete who can put it on goal. Mack chips it toward the penalty spot. Johnson out. Lavernenko couldn't have run onto it. He had to stay onside. Johnson trying to spring Smith down the left wing. Smith leaves it off for Callahan, but Noonan is back again. Tauber playing it up the right side. Denton back to give it to his goalkeeper, Johnson. Smith's challenge gets it away from Tauber. Fedeski spins away from Purcell. Noonan on the right against Callahan. Off the challenge, Purcell picks it up, but Fedeski booms it down the field and out of bounds.
Well, there's the giant killer, Sean Purcell, back on the field. 2 goals to eliminate number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, Duke, in the second round, and 2 goals on Friday night in the overtime semifinal to eliminate the University of Connecticut. Can he do it again?
B.J. Snow walking off, and we mentioned earlier that he was stretching his calves very carefully. I think he has begun to cramp up, and it's Fundenberger and Hawley into the Hawley already was in the game. Fundenberger comes off the bench to relieve B.J. Snow. Long rush up the wing for Purcell. Tries to chip it into the middle, and Hannick has to play the ball on the short post. Fundenberger winning the 50-50 ball midfield. Fundenberger to Lavernenko. Lavernenko chipping it near side. Here's Mack to track it down. Mack against Davis. Davis steals it cleanly. It's a 4-on-3 for Santa Clara if they can counter quickly. Chimienti makes the move. Beats one man. He's got a wide open left wing. It's Callahan. 3 men setting up in the middle for Santa Clara. Callahan moving on Garcia. What a match up there. Garcia comes back and takes it over the end line. That's an All-American defender.
Nick Garcia is so difficult to beat in the one-on-one situations, but he was forced to give up a corner kick. Give some credit to Sean Michael Callahan for challenging Nick Garcia to his ultimate limits here. A little change of direction, change of pace as well. Garcia very quick, though, to recover.
Corner kick for Santa Clara with less than 14 minutes to go in regulation. Headed to the perimeter. A lot of room for the Broncos. Denton faking the shot, comes left, drills it along the ground. That's way offside. No, it wasn't. There were still 2 players on the post. Excuse me. I was assuming that the offside trap was on, and now Hannick really letting his defenders have it as they were standing on the posts.
Some composure here in the attack for Santa Clara. Watch the fake. You know Denton likes his left foot. He drills it through. No offside. Both Indiana defenders in behind T.J. Hannick, keeping everyone onside. And a golden opportunity goes by the wayside for the Santa Clara Broncos.
They were as alert as the posts were on that one. It looked like a 3-on-0. Fundenberger turning it back. He's got Carroll cutting toward the middle. Fundenberger with a long chip. Denton going after it. Less than 13 minutes to go. Well, Santa Clara's not going to get a better chance than that.
No, and it was Sean Purcell, and he knows what to do in front of the net. He may not have been aware of how much time he really had on the ball.
Noonan with the move right side to the top of the box. Gets it back on the return. Johnson comes out to challenge, and Stewart makes sure his goalkeeper can collect the ball.
Well, again, a nice little give and go by Indiana. Nearly got them through the back 4 for Santa Clara. That's how the goal came about when Lavernenko and Carroll worked the 1-2.
Fedeschi past Lavernenko. Goring volleys it. This is Purcell. Davis on the go, trying to split 2. Gets it up the wing for Smith. Smith has Chimienti in the middle. Finds him. Too hot to handle. Hawley out of bounds. It'll be a corner kick for Santa Clara. Well, this is good action up and down the field. Both teams attacking now. Less than 12 minutes to go in regulation time.
We've seen both teams clear balls off their own lines.
Callahan on the corner. Looking for Goring. Fedeschi clears.
Justin Cannell coming over for the big throw. Always a threat.
Now he plays it short. Callahan setting up, getting around Lavernenko. Hit from behind on Mack's pursuit. Callahan staying with it. Deflects out. Carroll on the outside of the foot, clear. Stewart throwing it right to the penalty spot. Hannick way out for the punch. Challenge from the far side by Smith, and he bumps into an Indiana player, and he goes down.
Well, he's got 3 stitches in his nose. It looks like this one he got a fat lip after the play. Good high ball towards that back post. Hannick, again, very good with the high balls today. He's crashed into by Kyle Smith. And the foul called against Smith. The correct call. And after the play, mixing it up with Kyle Smith was Nick Garcia. Nick Garcia.
Oh, yeah, come on now.
Stepping into
that's not necessary.
A little bit of a headbutt to his mouth.
A little bit.
Well, the fact is, that's in the penalty area, too. If the ball's in play at the time he does that, they could call a penalty kick.
Yeah, even if the ball isn't in play at that time. That's totally outside the rules and the spirit of the game. Too bad in an otherwise well-played day for Nick Garcia.
Garcia
not his best moment.
already has a yellow, too.
Yeah, not his best moment. In midfield, Chimienti fighting through. It's John Swan to win it out of bounds, and then Santa Clara will reset. Fedeski. Davis volleys it forward. Chimienti off the chest for Purcell. Smith bangs into Hawley. Garcia volleys it out. Denton up the far side for Purcell, working on Garcia. Callahan chipping it toward the middle, nobody there. Fedeski on it for Indiana. Goring traps, plays it up the right side. Purcell waits for it. He goes in hard and smashes into Garcia. Both coming up hurting after
there's
that.
your payback on Nick Garcia.
I'm not sure he knew Garcia was on his back, but he let him have it anyway.
He didn't care who it was, but it just so happened it was the guy that had just headbutted his teammate, and I think
here's Goring.
Purcell made sure he nailed him.
Goring on the right, having beaten Mack. Mack cleans out. Goring lands on the back of his neck.
This is a guy who's paid a heavy physical price to participate in this Men's College Cup. Came in already with a bad right knee. Hurt the left one Friday night in the semifinal.
Getting the trainer on the field. Well, here's Goring, and you see Goring just doing the complete flip.
Well, things getting a little heated here.
Let's back it up
Kyle
to that
Smith
moment.
getting bumped on the face with a headbutt from Nick Garcia. Not caught by the referee. Garcia already had a yellow card previous to this, taking a big chance there. And then Sean Purcell paying Nick Garcia a call and maybe sending him a message about that previous headbutt.
A lot of nastiness here in the closing minutes of the College Cup. Low. Mack wins the 50-50 ball. Carroll. Stewart chasing him down. Stewart smashes into Carroll. Free kick for Indiana.
Well, as you would expect, back into the game for Santa Clara, Ari Rodopoulos, their number 11, who looked so dangerous on many occasions in that first half of play. He's rested through much of the second half, and that's a calculated risk by Mitch Murray, the Santa Clara coach, giving him that break. Rodopoulos could have now the energy to break this open and tie the game.
I'm counting Santa Clara players. I see 4 in the back. I see 4 in midfield. I see 3 up front. That's 11 field players. Although Goring
was supposed to leave the game.
Was supposed to leave the game. I don't think he did. And now he's going to get a yellow card for not leaving the field. And I think he's waiting to be recognized onto the field to play. And he's being sent all the way around the perimeter. Fundenberger right in the corner. Davis winning away. Nifty work in tight traffic. Cannell. This is Mack spinning around. Fundenberger. Lavranenko going 1-on-3. Rodopoulos back to take it away. Tauber onto the right side for Noonan. Final 8 minutes in regulation time here. Goal kick for Santa Clara. You see graphically now Michael Goring getting the caution, the yellow card.
Essentially the transgression, too many men on the field.
Snow is in for Fundenberger for Indiana.
Well, that's a defensive switch. Fundenberger a forward, Snow a defender.
Purcell winning the ball right side. Chimienti. Purcell going down along with Fedeski. Fedeski's slow to get up. The foul against Santa Clara. Indiana on the free kick, and the Hoosiers are going to take their time on every restart.
Oh, Fedeski's smiling when he gets up. He's not afraid of a little bit of contact. He's had a tremendous battle through much of this game. Look at the elbow from Sean Purcell.
Smith lays it off for Callahan. Callahan booming it up the right side for Chimienti. Takes it down off the chest, trying to turn on Swan. Into the middle on the outside of the foot. Garcia popping it up. Smith giving chase. Davis has it. Fedeski out to challenge. Turns it back for Cannell. Pressure from Carroll. Off Carroll and out of bounds. Throw in Santa Clara. 6:16 to go in regulation. Smith going 1-on-2. Fires it through. Fedeski cleaned out on a hard hit by Purcell. Purcell slow getting up. Hawley gets it out toward midfield. Volleyed out of bounds. Throw in for Indiana.
Well, Sean Purcell right now a loose cannon. If he can't get a goal, he wants the exact punishment on the Indiana Hoosiers. And he's cruising really for a potential ejection the way he's playing the man instead of the ball.
Fedeski's long throw up to midfield. Headed out, another Indiana throw in.
Well, Bruce Arena told us at halftime that the way Indiana plays, this could end up being a 1-0 game. They get a lead and they know how to hold on to it.
Fedeski with 5:20 to go in regulation. Every restart's going to be worth about 10 or 15 more seconds burned as Indiana's in no hurry. You can see what a rush Santa Clara's in. Lavernenko loses to Stewart. Callahan volleys it forward. Purcell, a boomer down the right side intended for Smith. Fedeski back on him. Looked like classic obstruction. Fedeski pulls him down. Less than 5 minutes to go. The clock continues to run. Free kick for Santa Clara. Play getting very rough. Davis on the serve. It's an outswinger, far post. Hannick punches it clear. Purcell settles. His drive knocked down. Hawley there. Off a couple more bodies. Denton picks it up in traffic. Trying to find some kind of an opening. Air on the left side. Challenged by Snow. Snow wants the throw in and he gets it. Now we're going to get a, is it a throw in or a pushing call? The call is unclear from where I am. It is a throw in. It was 17 seconds between the time the ball went out of bounds and when Indiana threw it in. Santa Clara's got to keep the ball in play. Lavernenko going over the top on Chimienti and play on. Rodopoulos. Davis can't keep it in.
Well, we talked about early in the game the teams perhaps having heavy legs, taking a while to really find their legs, but now you're at the other end of the match. These teams can't have very much left, and Lavernenko should have been called for a foul. He did not play the ball.
16 seconds with the ball out of play there, and now we're down to 3:10 to go in regulation time, and another Indiana throw in. The Hoosiers are walking to the ball, which is well within their rights. Max long throw. Comes out again off Cannell's clear.
Tyler Hawley, a big presence there, number 17 for Indiana.
Back to the short post. Cannell up to win it again. Tauber flicking toward the corner. And out of bounds. Less than 2.5 minutes to go. Cannell, the long throw from his own end. Out of bounds. Santa Clara has it on the throw.
Cannell's got to have some cut abs from all those flip throw-ins.
The last one went about 35 yards. Now we're getting a substitution. Out goes Callahan and in comes Goring. Goring, a target type player. 6 feet 1 inches tall, and he goes right to the front line. Rodopoulos, a little chip header out to the wing. Chimienti runs onto it. Fedeski having trouble there. Fedeski using his body to screen. Draws the foul. Free kick for Indiana. 1:38 to go in regulation. Garcia. Rodopoulos going up with the elbow. Goring. Far side for Rodopoulos. Nice tackle by Tarver to win the ball. Now Swan. Up to midfield. Carroll, who's been pretty quiet in the second half. Mack. Long ball. Johnson calling for it. As we prepare to enter the final minute of the Men's College Cup for 1999. Indiana with a 1-0 lead on Santa Clara, although Santa Clara has carried the play in the second half. Hannig with the catch 17 yards off the goal line. Santa Clara basically has time to settle it and bring it up for one last attack.
The last chance offense for Santa Clara will revolve around the height of Michael Goring at that back post.
Air turning it up. Lavranenko intercepts. Lavranenko, great possession player, into the middle for Carroll, heads it on for Hawley. Less than 30 seconds to go. Last gasp for the Broncos, and great hustle. Carroll keeping the ball alive.
He might be able to keep it the rest of the match.
Carroll into the middle. Denton trying to head it clear. 10 seconds to go. The Hoosiers are going back to back. Lavranenko knows it. Just rolling the ball down toward the end line, and Jerry Yeagley's Indiana Hoosiers have won their 5th national championship, their 2nd in a row. Every Indiana player who's stayed in the program for 4 years since the beginning of the program in 1973 has at least gotten to the national semifinal round, and now that will continue, of course, through 2003, the class of 2003.
Well, they say defense wins championships. A 1-0 game, a very narrow margin of victory. This is the Adidas play of the match. A chance to tie the game by Santa Clara in the second half. The shot here deflected by the goalkeeper Hannig, Nick Garcia flicking the ball off his own line with the head in a desperation defensive play.
Indiana wears the smiles of champions, having beaten Santa Clara 1-0 for the Men's College Cup. Was the team to stop Santa Clara last year in the semis. This year in the championship game, Indiana wins the College Cup 1-0 for 1999, repeating as national champion. The Chevy players of the game, Yuri Lavranenko, what a fine job in midfield and pressing it forward for Indiana.
Lavranenko with his 4th game-winning goal this season.
And Ari Rodopoulos, the Chevy player of the game for Santa Clara. Coming up next, the Incredible Dog Challenge. Once again, the final score, Indiana 1, Santa Clara 0. For our entire ESPN crew, I'm Jack Edwards for Ty Keogh. So long.